Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is December 23rd, 2025. Almost said 2023, but it's not. That was 2 years ago. But it's December 23rd, 2025. And ladies and gentlemen, Javier Tebas has fired shots at Real Madrid and all the ridiculousness they've been doing lately with the whole Negreira case excuse. Also, the negotiations with Al Ahly are getting complicated over Hamza Abdul Kharim. And finally, Monaco have made a decision on whether to sign Ansu Fati. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with the news that Javier Tebas has fired shots at Real Madrid, given all the ridiculousness that they've been doing lately. Now, as you know, Florentino Perez has not once but twice brought up Barcelona and the Negreira case during his speeches to the Real Madrid club members, one during a general assembly where he was supposed to update him about the situation of Real Madrid. But of course, he didn't want to tell him, hey, your club is doing like shit. So here, let me distract you with the whole Barcelona and Negreira case. And then he did it again in the Christmas address where same thing. Instead of celebrating, saying, hey, your year's almost done. Let's celebrate what we accomplished. They haven't accomplished anything. So of course, he had to distract them a second time, bringing up again the Barcelona and the Negreira case. Of course, Jean Laporta did reply to Florentino Perez. I covered Florentino Perez's speeches. I covered Laporta's responses. They're on the channel if you want to check them out. But now it's Javier Tebas' turn because La Liga's president had the following to say about this whole shenanigans, if you want to call it that. But this is what Tebas said. What is generating tension in this case is Real Madrid against everyone. That is against Barcelona, against the referees, against everyone. Madrid is trying to create a narrative that right now the referees are being influenced. That is very dangerous because it's not true. This narrative is being built and it's causing tension. The narrative is that it seems like what is happening today with some refereeing error is the fault of what happened in 2019 or 2017. It's actually 2018 and before, because 2018 is when Barcelona ended their relationship with Negreira's company. I'm not saying that Barcelona's actions at that time or those of its directors were by any means the most appropriate. We were the first to go to the prosecutor's office, the first to say that this had to be investigated and even, if necessary, sanctioned in the sporting arena, which in Spain is now time barred. From that to saying that today a penalty not called for a Real Madrid player in a football match is the consequences of that, well, that's a world of difference. So Javier Tebas hit it back at Real Madrid and Florentino Perez. I never thought I would agree with Tebas. With Tebas. But yeah, here I am, of course, saying that who's really causing the tension and the problems here? Real Madrid, right? Where the constant accusation that the referees are corrupt, that the referees are against them. You know, week after week for the past 2-3 years, they've been publishing videos on Real Madrid TV saying that these refs are corrupt and against them and rule against them on purpose, right? And that's what's truly creating the tension. And in fact, that's what's truly influencing the competition, right? We're seeing referees being terrified of ruling against Real Madrid. And as such, they're getting penalties left and right. They're getting red cards for their opponents left and right. And their players are completely going without any consequences, doing whatever the hell they want, including punching players, and they're not getting any punishment. And Tebas, of course, also saying that that's just a narrative. That's an excuse to the whole Negreira case because the last time Barcelona paid Negreira's company for refereeing reports was in 2018. And somehow Negreira is still influencing the competition 7 years later. I mean, what were there? Payments in perpetuity? Anyways, like I've said a million times on the channel, this is nothing but excuse for Real Madrid to excuse their failures with their stadium, their failures with their team, their failures with their 1.3 billion euro debt. And finally, you know, Madrid have to be very careful with what they do. And I've said this to Barcelona fans all the time. When you want to talk about how La Liga's rigged and, you know, the winner is whoever buys the referees, you're putting into questions your own accomplishments, right? Because Madrid has also won La Liga several times, 30 plus times, 35 or 36 or however times. What does that mean? If the La Liga is rigged and truly the winner is the highest bidder, that means all those years that Madrid won La Liga, they were the highest bidders. So they're also putting into question their own accomplishments. Same thing goes for Barcelona, right? When Barca fans come on my channel talking about, oh, the La Liga's rigged, I'm like, be careful with what you're saying because that means that every La Liga Barcelona has won, it was also rigged because you can't have it both ways. It's either always rigged and whoever wins it won it because they paid, or it's never rigged and whoever won it by merit. But you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't say, oh, when Barcelona win it, it's fine, but when Madrid win it, it's rigged, or the opposite. You know, when Madrid win it, it's fine, but when Barcelona win, it's rigged. That's not how it works. But anyways, let's move on to the next bit of news. And this is something I talked about a little bit on my podcast because I did notice it yesterday when it came on my recommendation on my YouTube page. But Lamine Yamal has officially launched a YouTube channel. Now, Lamine Yamal published a video 1 day ago, and it's called My House Tour. It's a tour of his house that he's going to be moving out of. And it already has 4.6 million views, and his channel is almost at 1 million subscribers in only a matter of a day. Absolutely insane. But if you want to check out Lamine Yamal's channel, well, it's just called Lamine Yamal right now. He only has 1 video. I'm very curious to see what else he's going to be publishing. I'm also curious to watch his tour of the house because I have not seen that video yet. Now, Lamine Yamal is currently on vacation in Dubai. The players have an entire week of vacation for the holidays. The first training back will be next Monday. Very well-deserved vacation for all the Barcelona players. Now, on to the next bit of news because negotiations are getting complicated with Al Ahly for their young attacker, Hamza Abdul Kharim, someone we've talked about before, 17-year-old center forward, currently playing for the Egyptian club. Barcelona are very interested in signing him for Barca Athletic this window transfer market. The idea is to sign him on loan with an option to buy. That way he can play the rest of the season with Barca Athletic. If he impresses, we can sign him on a permanent basis. But so far, the negotiations are getting a little bit complicated. Now, I told you in a previous video that the first offer for Hamza Abdul Kharim had been rejected. Barcelona offered, again, a loan with an option to buy worth 4 million euros. And of course, some variables based on goals and based on appearances. But Al Ahly have now counter-offered with still a loan, free loan. So Barcelona don't have to pay, a loan fee. However, they want an option to buy worth 8 million euros, double what Barcelona had offered. Now, they want to split into 2 million euros in a fixed amount and 6 million euros in variables. And also, they want a percentage of any future sale. More specifically, they want 20% of any future sales, which Barcelona are only willing to offer 10. So right now, things are getting a little bit complicated, but nonetheless, they're saying Hamza Abdul Kharim wants to come to Barca, and he's pushing for this deal to happen. Now, what I would do, honestly, is if I was Barcelona, I'd be like, all right, fine. Look, this is what we're going to offer. Either take it or leave it, and just let them wait, let them sweat a little bit. And if Hamza Abdul Kharim keeps putting pressure, I think eventually they're going to come back to the table and be like, okay, fine, we accept what you're offering, or maybe come down a little bit. And maybe since Barca want 4, they want 8, talking about million in the option to buy, maybe they'll come down to 6, and maybe they'll accept the 10% that Barcelona are offering for future sales. Anyways, let's end this video with some bad news, and this bad news concerns Ansu Fati because reports in France stating that Monaco have made their final decision, and that is that they will not be signing Ansu Fati. Now, Ansu Fati is currently on a 1-season loan to Monaco with an option to buy worth 12 million euros. When he first arrived, he took him some time to adapt. However, he responded really well to his managed adaptation period. And when he started playing, he looked very good. In fact, he became one of the most effective scorers for Monaco. And we started to see flashes of his sharpness that had made him one of the most exciting forwards when he first made it into Barcelona's first team. And we also started to see, his best version since his injury, where he looked lighter, he looked quicker, more decisive. But then something bad happened, and that is that Monaco's coach, Adi Hutter, the coach that had requested the signing of Ansu Fati, the coach that had taken Ansu Fati under his wing and, oversaw his development, got fired. And then Monaco got a new coach, Pocognoli, who since then has completely benched Ansu Fati. In fact, Ansu Fati has not started since November 22nd. And in fact, he hasn't featured at all since November 29. And now it's reported that Monaco have decided that they're not going to be exercising the 12 million euro option to sign Ansu Fati, and that this comes directly from Pocognoli, who's not too happy with Ansu. Now, this, of course, is very bad news for Barcelona because, A, Barcelona are not going to make the 12 million euros that they could have made had they transferred Ansu Fati to Monaco, so that's money there that we're not gonna make. B, that means that Ansu Fati is gonna come back, and now Barcelona are gonna have to once again start paying his very, very high salary. So not only we don't make 12 million, but now we have to add his high salary to our wage bill, which will affect the financial fair play negatively. And C, now we're stuck for 2 seasons because remember, Ansu Fati's contract expired in 2027, but in order to make this transfer happen, they extended his contract till 2028 in order to spread his salary over more seasons so Monaco can afford half of it, or I think a little bit more than half. So now Ansu Fati, if he comes back and he flops at Barca, it's not like, oh, it's just 1 season, whatever, we'll just eat it. Now it's 2 seasons. So definitely bad news for Ansu, bad news for Barca, because it looks like Ansu is headed back to the club. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. I did upload another video a few moments ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, Viscarsa.